wrestling fans, boxing fans, and all the Ride Time supporters. How are you? For the first time in a long time, folks, I'm covering the sport of boxing. Now, there's some things to cover. Anthony Joshua lost to Alexander Usyk in their rematch. Anthony Joshua, very depressed at the press conference. He showed very good combination punches throughout that fight, but still came up short. But it was impressive enough where Tyson Fury offered Anthony Joshua a shot at the WBC heavyweight title. Now, allegedly, Team Anthony Joshua and Eddie Hearn has acknowledged all the terms, and they accepted all the terms that were put on the table. But in the sport of boxing, you never know for sure. So, I hope the fight gets made. It will be a great fight. Anthony Joshua, one of the biggest names in boxing, next to Tyson Fury. Let's move on. Triple G and Canelo Alvarez had their third fight. Canelo Alvarez won. It went to the scorecards, which means it went a whole 12 rounds. People were saying that the fight was boring. You know, Canelo Alvarez should have been able to knock out Gennady Golovkin because, you know, Golovkin is 40 years old and Canelo Alvarez is only 32. So why wasn't he able to knock the man out? That's why a lot of people bought that pay-per-view, because they were expecting to see a knockout. Now, my guy Bruce Vane, I am a fan. I watch his videos, I listen to his stuff, and he says and he's right. There is no more tomato cans. There is no more former champion veterans that he can just come out of nowhere with. You know what I'm saying? So now here's what I'm thinking. There is no more Triple G. There is no more former champions of a certain age that he can fight. So there's Danny Jacobs. There's Demetrius Andre. There's Oscar Benavidez. Well, I'm sorry, not Oscar Benavidez. I'm talking David Benavidez. I'm sorry. I don't even count Jermell. I don't even count Charlo. And the reason why I don't count Charlo is very simple. Charlo is the WBC 160-pound champ. He's the middleweight champion of the WBC. And the thing was, he got the Lennox Lewis treatment. And what I mean by the Lennox Lewis treatment, if you remember, Lennox Lewis, Riddick Bowe tossed the WBC belt in the garbage. So, Lennox Lewis, who was the mandatory for that belt, instead of having him fight for the championship, the WBC just presented Lennox Lewis with the championship and just said, kid, make something out of it. Do something with it, make something out of it. And the difference is with Lennox Lewis. Lennox Lewis knew he had this monkey on his back. You know, the fact that he was just presented with the WBC belt, he knew that there was going to be a lot of criticism because of the way he got the belt and everything else. He had to fight, and he had to fight the big names. You know, he had to fight the Tommy Morrisons, the Razor Ruddocks, the Evander Holyfields, the Hakeem Rockmans, the Klitschko's. He had to fight those type of guys to prove the Oliver McCall. He had to fight those guys to prove, hey, yeah, I was presented with this belt, I was given this belt, but guess what? I'm in this ring and I'm fighting. Whoever the WBC puts in front of me, that's who I'm fighting. And I'll do it with no problem. Now me, I'm not a fan of Lennox Lewis. I've never been a fan of Lennox Lewis. Really, but credit is where credit is due, man. He actually got in the ring and he fought people. Now, the reason why I don't count Charlo, now Charlo is doing his damnedest to get this Canelo fight, but Canelo's not going to touch Charlo. He's not going to touch Charlo. Reason being, number one, is Charlo, his resume doesn't say much. You're not going to impress a guy like, you're not going to get Canelo Alvarez to fight you with names like Dennis Hogan and Brandon Adams and calling fights like that a legacy fight. Let's be honest, Big Brother Charlo, the one at 160 pounds, hasn't really done anything with his championship since he won it. The last fight he was supposed to have, he backed out of that fight because of a so-called back injury. And then a video came out of him not looking the greatest, where he's telling Oscar De La Hoya to kiss his butt. That's not the words he used, but we all get the jibs. So that's why I'm not counting Charlo. So the only way I see it is David Benavidez, Demetrius Andre, Danny Jacobs, Jared Hurd, you know, so those are the four names that I could see Canelo fighting. Or, like he did with Canelo, a rematch with Demetrius Bivol. Now, they mentioned Demetrius Bivol. They want the rematch with Demetrius Bivol. At least that's what they said. Whether it happens or not, I have no clue. Canelo got his ass whooped in that fight with Bivol. Took an ass whooping. Took an ass whooping. He was expected to win that fight with Triple G. Triple G has set himself up for some big checks. Just on the level that he's gone the distance with the man. Just on the grounds that he went the 12 rounds with 32-year-old Canelo Alvarez. And he's 40 years old. This guy is tough, he's durable. He went 12 rounds at 40 years old. Canelo, on the other hand, has to deal with the fact of, why didn't you knock him out? I believe Triple G got cheated. got cheated in the first fight. There's a lot of people who say he has gotten cheated. Canelo Alvarez, the last time I remember hearing anything about Canelo Alvarez was his idea to move up to cruiserweight and fight Junior Makabu, the WBC cruiserweight champion, Junior Makabu, which did not happen. So, Canelo, there is no more cherry picks. And Charlo's been begging for that Canelo fight. But the reason why Canelo he will not fight Charlo, it has nothing to do with his resume, believe it or not. Well, it does, but it doesn't. Because he's going to look at his resume. There's nothing that you've done that enticed me enough to want to get in the ring with you. There's no names on that resume that has me saying, man, this is something I got to get involved with. So, where does Canelo go from here? Because there is no more cherry picking. Okay? Or he could... Bivol was a cherry pick that went wrong. Okay? He thought he would be able to just walk through Bivol, but that's not what happened. So, we gonna see what happens. Wrestling and boxing forever. Ride time. I'm out. Stay positive, stay motivated, stay hungry to win. I'm out.